Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Recipe Box. Today's topic is traditional Christmas cooking. I'm your host, Nigel Moore, and I'm joined by my colleague, professional chef, Nigel Bennett. Thank you, Nigel, for being with us today. With the festive season here, we thought we'd share with you that marvelous tradition of the fruitcake.
The fruitcake.
Now, Nigel, you're a bit of an expert on fruitcakes, aren't you?
Yes, that's right, Nigel. I am. The fruitcake has been a part of history for hundreds of years. In fact, you can blame the fruitcake plague on the cheap sugar that arrived in Europe from the colonies in the 16th century. Lord Longshanksmore discovered that fruit could be preserved by soaking it in successively greater concentrations of sugar, intensifying color and flavor.
Yes, well, that's quite interesting. Of course, you know that fruitcakes have been a part of my family for generations.
Yes, I knew that, Nigel. In fact, some of your ancestors in the southern colonies began to add their surplus of cheap nuts to the fruitcakes, which of course started the saying, nutty as a fruitcake.
Yes. Well, thank you, Nigel. Let's move on, shall we? Today we're going to share with you a very simple yet effective fruitcake recipe that has been in my family for years. I want to thank you, Nigel, for letting me help today. I don't often get to help in the kitchen. Why don't we tell the viewers what we're going to need today?
Yes, for today's fruitcake, you will need 2 cups of pitted prunes, 1 1/4 cups of water, 1 1/4 cup of flour, 3 cups of mixed dried fruit of your choice, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of allspice, and finally 4 tablespoons of orange juice. Nigel, please do not drink the orange juice. Will you? Nigel, you've got a bit of... You know, Nigel, some people prefer dates over prunes in the fruitcake.
Yes, but I've really never had a good experience with a date. The prunes are why this recipe is so popular and why my family has produced some of the best fruitcakes.
I see. Well, let's get started, shall we? First, we need to heat the prunes and water until the prunes are soft.
Right. Yeah, just put these right in here.
Thank you, Nigel.
And I'll heat them, shall we?
Very good, then. Now remove them from the heat and mash them thoroughly. Nigel will use his new hand mixer.
Now?
Yes, Nigel, now. And this is the part Nigel likes.
Oh my, they're getting mushy.
Yes, yes, they are looking quite nice. Please stop that now.
Right.
Now just add all... Quite finished.
Yes. Sorry.
Now just add all the other ingredients and mix well.
Right, so we'll
Prunes first.
spoon the prune mixture in.
And doesn't that look tasty?
On the flour, we're going to...
Now just speaking of flour, you've got a bit of... on
the allspice
right,
and
again, if you could...
orange juice, a little baking powder, and of course, the mixed fruit. I wonder what kind of fruit this is.
Well, I don't know, Nigel. It's mixed. Yes. Make sure that you're stirring it well. Often you must put your whole arm into it, as Nigel is so aptly demonstrating. Very nicely done.
Thank you.
Now, spoon this mixture into a greased cake tin and level the top.
Right.
And doesn't that look splendid? Very well done, Nigel.
Thank you. Right. Now, we should level the top, you say?
Yes, level at the top, making it nice and even on all sides.
You know, I have some in my little thingy. So I'm just going to do this, shall we?
With his hands, which is not healthy. Now we'll put this in the oven at 340 degrees for about an hour and a half until cooked. Nigel,
yes,
would you like to put it in the oven?
I would, thank you.
Be certain that you don't dirty up the oven. And how graceful. Very nicely done. Now, Nigel, while this is cooking, why don't you share with them some of the many uses of the fruitcake?
Ah, yes, thank you, Nigel. Fruitcakes down through the ages have been used in a variety of ways. I brought my scrapbook here to show you some of the many ways we use fruitcakes. Here are some of the pictures I've gathered over the years. Of course, this is my lovely niece wearing the traditional Moore family fruitcake. Here are some useful candlestick holders. Another useful fruitcake idea is the fruitcake clock. Fruitcakes can be decorative also. The fruitcake is also a big help in physical fitness. Here's my Aunt Bev using her ankle fruitcake weights. Many motorcyclists have switched to fruitcake wheels. Here's the Moore family on our recent rafting trip. And finally, here is my favorite picture with my nephews tubing at the lake.
Yes, thank you, Nigel, for that interesting and mostly frightening look into your world of fruitcakes. Shall we check on our fruitcake in the oven?
Oh, yes, of course. Oh my, looky here.
And look at that. There it is. And what a fascinating fruitcake you've made. Well, I'm afraid that's all the time we have this week. This has been traditional Christmas cooking on the recipe box with me, Nigel Bennett, and
me, Nigel Moore. Join us again for the next episode in which we will see all the many uses of transparent packaging tape.
Oh,